Hi everyone. Sorry, I'm busy eating a vegan Percy pig. I should definitely have finished my sweet before starting this video. But I've started, so we'll carry on. Hello. My name's Alistair Humphreys. I am the author of The Boy Who Biked the World. I should definitely have got this book ready before I started reading it. The Boy Who Biked the World. I'm also, by the way, the author of a Korean version of a book called Great Adventure. It's been translated into Korean, which is fantastic. I can't read a word of it, but it's cool. And also The Girl Who Rode the Ocean. Right, I've finished my sweet. I've showed you my books. Now I can be professional and start properly. Hello, all of Year 4 at St Bernadette Catholic Primary School in Middlesex. Thank you so much for reading my book, The Boy Who Biked the World. But more than that, more even than that, thank you for writing all of these letters to me with so many questions and information and bits and bobs. I think they are fantastic. I'm going to just read a couple of little bits of just the first few because there's loads. Nyla says, "Dear Alistair Humphreys, I had the greatest pleasure to read your wonderful book, The Boy Who Biked the World. My favourite character is Tom because he inspired me to never give up on anything. He strongly believed in his dream and went on his adventure to bike around the world." He certainly did. Look at that. That is a very neat and impressive letter. Who's this next one's from? David, dear Alistair Humphreys. "I've got so much to tell you," says David. Loads of info. And then he finishes with the best wishes from David, your devoted reader. I love that. Very colourful one here. From Rio. Rio says, "This book inspired me. Here's why. It inspired me, 1, to be brave. 2, to chase my dreams. 3, to never give up. 4, to stand up. 5, to ignore somebody who says you can't do it. And 6, to prove your bullies wrong." I think they are brilliant ideas, Rio. And they're so good, in fact, that I completely agree. You had 7, 8 and 9, and then you've crossed them out, because I think you've covered it perfectly in 6. One from Anya here. Anya says, "I know you didn't go to the Philippines, but can you try to go? I've actually when I was a student, I spent 2 months in the Philippines, up in the north of the country, building a rice mill in a little village in a jungle. It was fantastic." Some impressively neat handwriting here from Lucas. Look at that, putting me to shame. Lucas says, "Thank you for writing such a wonderful book, and I hope you take as much pleasure in writing them as I do in reading them." Well, that's lovely, Lucas, but I can tell you, I'm now doing Peppa Pig burps. Not Peppa Pig, Percy Pig burps. Lucas says, "I hope you take as much pleasure in writing them as I do in reading them." Well, I have to say, I don't. I don't take much pleasure in writing books at all. I find it totally agony. It's like, when you get set a massive homework, it's basically me doing homework all day, every day. I find it really hard, and it's always tempting to just do anything except the book writing. For example, as soon as the postman brought me these letters this morning, I thought, I'm going to stop writing my book and answer these questions from the school. So you've sent me so many letters, so many questions. It's fantastic. And your fantastic, wonderful, amazing, brilliant teacher, Miss Hart, has helped me out by choosing some questions that you have been wondering about. I haven't read these, so they will be a surprise to me. I'm just going to check my pocket if I got any more Percy Pig. No, I've got no more Percy Pigs. This is my shed, by the way, where I work and I write books. And if I had a whole packet of Percy Pigs here, I'd just eat them all. So sometimes when I go to the house, like to meet the postman just now, I get a couple of little sweets, put them in my pocket. Yeah, definitely all gone, sadly. Which country that you've visited has been your favourite so far and why? I've been to about 90 countries, which sounds like a lot, but it's less than half of the countries in the world. Which is my favourite? That's an impossible question because I like places for so many different reasons. And pretty much every time I answer it, I give a different answer. So today's answer is, I don't know if you saw this week, there was an aurora borealis. The northern lights reached even to Britain. You have to Google them to see what they look like. I didn't see them because it was raining, and that reminded me of my time in the Lofoten Islands in Norway, which I've just been thinking about so much. That's such an amazing place. So I'm going to choose that now. Pretty much anywhere up in the Arctic I will choose. Is Tom based on you as a little boy? No, not really, no. Tom is basically based on me as an adult, as me cycling around the world. I pretty much just took my thoughts and feelings from when I was cycling around as an adult and turned them into a child doing it, because I thought the reader, you guys, might be more interested to read about a child who was your age rather than me, boring old adult. How long did it take you to write your book? Well, The Boy Who Biked the World, I started writing and I wrote quite a bit of it, and then I couldn't find a publisher, and so it didn't come out for ages, and then eventually I got it done and it came out. Boy Who Biked the World 2, Boy Who Biked the World 3, each of them took roughly 1 year to do. This book, Great Adventurers, it's called, that took me about a year to do. And then The Girl Who Rode the Ocean, this is my newest book. This book I started to write years ago, but I couldn't find a publisher for this one either. So I kind of gave up on it for a while, and then I just thought recently, no, I need to get this done. So this is kind of a follow-up to The Boy Who Biked the World. Tom's brother Lucy, she gets a bit fed up that Tom's had his adventures cycling around the world, so she wants to go have an adventure of her own. But roughly speaking, it takes me 1 year to do a book. That's what I try and do. One book, 1 year, one book, 1 year. But I'm actually these days now trying to speed up a little bit. Not doing very well, but I'm trying to. How long did it take to cycle around the world? It took 4 years to do. Could I travel around the world on my scooter? Definitely. Absolutely. You could definitely go around the world on a scooter. Yeah, why not? You could take a little rucksack with your camping gear. Perfect. I know of a friend of mine, he's called Dave Cornthwaite, who went all the way across Australia on a skateboard. Someone skateboarded the whole way down Japan. And there's a guy called, mind blank, Ed Pratt, who went around the world on a unicycle. You know those bikes with only one wheel? If you look on YouTube, you can see some of his fantastic videos. There's someone called Geoff Summerfield who's going all the way around the world on a penny farthing, which is those really old-fashioned bikes with a massive front wheel and a tiny, tiny little back wheel. So, in other words, you can pretty much go around the world on any silly thing at all. So yeah, definitely a scooter. What inspired you to travel the world and write a book about it through the eyes of a child? What inspired me to go around the world was other books and stories. You see, I've got loads of books, travel books, adventure books, and it was reading those books of all these people who were my adventure heroes, who I put into this book. These were my 20 great, I hope this says, great adventurers, 20 amazing adventure heroes. So these were the people who actually inspired me to go on and have adventures. So I loved reading books, and then reading these books made me want to go and have my own adventures. The reason that I did it through the eyes of a child was because when I was going around the world, I used to give talks in schools. So I spoke to thousands of children around the world about my adventures, and I knew that children really enjoyed adventure. So I thought I wanted to write a book for children, and I thought it would be more interesting to read about another child than about a boring old adult. Did you worry that children might try and do the same as you after reading your books? No. I worried that children might not try to do the same as me after reading your books. Now, obviously, it's a fiction book. I didn't cycle around the world as a young child, and It is unfortunately probably going to be quite hard for you guys to cycle around the world in year 4 because you've probably got to go to school on Monday and you've got to do some homework, and also you're going to need to get a job for a while to save up the money to go on the adventure. But what you can be doing now is building up adventure skills. You can be with your friends, your family, your school. You can be out scooting, hiking, cycling, exploring the local area, exploring near where you live, being adventurous. I reckon within 2 miles of where you live, you will find a park, a wood, a tree that you've never visited before. And if you go to them, you are being an explorer. So starting to be an explorer at a young age will see you in really good stead. It'll get you ready for when you're looking to have bigger adventures of your own in a few years. Did you make any friends on your journey, and are you still in touch with them? Yeah, I made loads of friends cycling around the world, and that was one of the best parts of the whole thing. I was on my own, but actually most days I was meeting different people from different countries and cultures, and it was fantastic. That was definitely one of the very best parts of it. A few people I'm still in touch with. Actually, one sent me a happy birthday message recently, which was an impressive memory from them. Someone who I'd met and stayed with in Tanzania in East Africa. So I'm still in touch with a few, but most people, well, a lot of people who I stayed with were really poor. They didn't have emails or WhatsApps, and so it's harder to stay in touch with them. So most people I didn't stay in touch with, but I still have them in my memories. Would you do your bike journey again? So 4 years on a bike is a long time. It's hard work. It's difficult. And also I missed my friends and my family in that time. So I've always thought once was enough, and I definitely wouldn't want to do it again. But it's interesting, now that time is passing and I'm starting to get older, I'm starting to think, ooh, maybe one day when I suddenly get some more spare time in my life again, maybe a long bike ride might be on the cards again. I definitely think that there is no better way to have a big adventure than cycling and camping. It's the best way to have adventure. Your teacher's been to Iceland. Wow, your teacher's very adventurous as well as a good teacher. Have you ever ridden your bike there, or is it too cold? I haven't ridden my bike in Iceland, but I have actually crossed Iceland from the north coast all the way to the south coast with a friend, and we did it on foot and with pack rafts, they're a bit like rubber dinghies, small little boats that you blow up. So we walked up into the middle of the country, over a glacier, to a river, and then paddled down a river to the other side. That was a brilliant adventure. And actually, going back to your last question about did I make friends along the way, when I was in Kazakhstan, I met a photographer there, and I stayed with him and his wife for 3 weeks actually in the end, while I was trying to get a visa for Iran, and we became good friends. And so the two of us, Chris and I, did that adventure across Iceland together. There's a video on YouTube about that if you want to watch me crossing Iceland. How many languages can you speak? You know, if I could have one superpower for cycling around the world, it wouldn't be to be really strong and really fast on my bike. The best possible thing would have been to speak loads of languages. I wish I could speak lots of languages. Unfortunately, in Britain, we don't seem to care about learning languages or teaching lots of languages hard for a long time at school. And so I'm rubbish at languages. And yet when you go to other countries, people speak loads of languages, and I think it's a real shame. I think we really miss out. So I can speak Spanish pretty well, but that's it, and I'm sad about that. I did French and German at school, but I'm not very good at them. Was there anything else on your bike ride that you didn't include in your books? Well, I tried to include most things in the books. Obviously, it was 4 years of adventure, so I had to leave out quite a lot of things to fit them into 3 thin books. But I certainly tried to include everything that was interesting. What fantastic questions. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope, well, it seems that some of you at least enjoyed the book. Thank you for the letters. I mean, this is a lot of work and a lot of effort. So thank you very, very much indeed for sending me all these letters, and I hope you enjoy reading some other books, and good luck with all of your own adventures. Bye!